Conversations with Kenni.
This podcast is sponsored by Visibility Solutions Media.
Conversations don't just reveal the truth, conversations shapes culture. Welcome to another edition of Conversations with Kenni. I'm excited for today's show because I have an amazing young Nigerian with me in the studio. He's a man of many parts. He's also a storyteller. He's a poet, spoken word artist, master of ceremonies, Bobo Nishe. Join me in welcoming Saint Rhymes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for coming. So let me start because I've known you for over a decade now, and let me start from when you adopted the name change. I've been meaning to ask you, but I never get the ginger to ask you. Now I get the ginger. So how did you? What made you, move from Rhymovator to Saint Rhymes?
Okay. I think if I could remember, that should be 2010 when the name changed, to 2011. But I think the process started 2010. So it was knowledge will always impact you. I think I attended any conference about branding or brand name and all of that. So, and by the time I put the name through the test, they were given a few things. How does what comes to people's mind when they hear your name or the name of your brand? And I discovered that some people were calling me Terminator. Some were calling me Rhinovator, something, things like that. So I just knew that I needed to work on the name and what defines in quotes this brand that I was creating at that time is a storyteller, poetic, but also has a strong establishment or a strong foundation on the gospel. That's preaching the gospel with poetic devices. So I said, okay, he's a saint and he rhymes. Saint rhymes. And that's
fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic. So, because you've been doing this for, like I said, over a decade.
over 2 decades.
Wow. So the challenge most people have usually in this part of the world is staying with something for that 20 years is waiting where they drive you then.
I believe that what keeps you strong on whatever you are doing is when your drive is stronger than material things. When your drive or what drives you is beyond what is visible to the eyes. Yeah. So you are not doing that thing just because you want to have a good car, you want to have a good life. You are doing it because that is your life. I shared it. I was shared with a friend of mine that there was a time, this should be maybe some 6 years, when I was still writing. I've not even really performed, maybe 1 or 2 gigs. I got tired. I had these books. I used to store my rhymes or poems then. So I got tired. I said, come, this will not kill me. Let me go and do something else in my life. So I threw the book away. Do you know, I think within a week, the book found itself to my mom's shop. Somebody brought it and said, I think this is your son's book.
How did the person get to know?
So I had a picture of a little picture and all those that thing you see in secondary school where you cut pictures. So I think the person was able to recognize my face. It was faded, but the person was able to recognize
your face
and brought it. So when they gave my man, I got back from school and I got the book. I just said, this body.
Wow.
This body will not leave me.
Symbolic.
So let's carry this cross now. But beyond that, over the years, I've seen that inspiring people with poetry gives me joy. I feel fulfilled, when I do it, whether through written form or spoken form. There's this joy that wells up within me. So I don't think I could do many other things, but you see this one, I can't stop doing it.
So what were the many other things you did?
Okay, so
because you've done it for 20 years, and I know in the midst of, so you left in uni. Was there a time you wanted to do it as your major, like making the main thing?
Yes, there was. It's still the main thing for me. Funny enough, it's still the main thing. But I've come to realize again that in art, creative art, you must. So let me take a little by little. One of the things that I learned, was that creative arts will eventually pay you. Depending on kind of what you are doing, it will eventually pay you, but you need to be alive to enjoy the payment. So in that thought, I started thinking, what can I do to sustain myself, to be alive?
To be alive.
And then so that these works have been churning out. When they are going to start paying, I should be alive to enjoy it. So that was where the thought of starting a business came from. What business can you do? Can you be the structure of a business runs, and then you can still have time to do this thing you do. Then there's something called gift extension. What's the extension of this gift? Can you extend it rather than just saying that I'm looking for a microphone and a stage to do poetry
And an audience.
What other thing is around this gift you have?
I see connected.
So you're still doing the same thing, but in diverse expressions. So voiceover came out of it. Voiceover came out of it. Songwriting came out of it. Book writing came out of it. MCing came out of it. So when I MC, people just know that this guy plays with words. It's still the same thing. I'm just using it now to organize the flow of an event. So it's called gift extension.
I like that gift extension.
It's your gift, but you are extend like this moldable fluid that when you put in your hand, you can stretch it out and maybe draw a line. It's still the same fluid, but now it's stretched out. You stretch it out again. So you're stretching out in different ways, but it's still the same core. When people sample all those expressions, they can see the essence. But your core is your core. So I still do the same thing. When I MC, I'm still playing with words or inspiring people with words, but I'm using it to organize the flow of an event.
At what point do you decide to explore this gift extension?
Knowledge. As a creative, I think one of the best things you do to yourself is to keep exposing yourself to information. There are trainings out there. During our time, there used to be a lot of seminars.
Man,
it was a seminar.
We always meet ourselves for events now.
Seminar there. So, and sometimes some of those seminars I attended then, man, I'm like, what did I even learn here? But truly, information, those things that teachers used to tell us when we were young, no knowledge is lost. It's true. You find out that at a point where you are mature enough to now decipher the information you stored in your heart, that begins to see, so some of the things I did maybe 5 years later, I'd gotten the information 5 years before, but I couldn't appropriate those information into actionable points. Some people are very smart. Immediately they hear thank you, but my own smartness, I need to digest and ruminate. Sometimes it can take years, but it's faster now. But those days, so it took me some years. Some of the things I did, like 5 years, 7 years after, I'd heard about it, learned about it, but I just didn't know how to apply it. It took me maybe another 7 years. Maybe some other information had come into play that made me now see how to apply. So as a creative, one of the best things you do for yourself, if you see any seminar around an area where you know you don't have strength, maybe you have a good administration, go now they do courses now. Go and take that course. You may not be excellent as an administrator, but that little knowledge will give you an edge. If it's leadership, learn about leadership. If it's branding, learn about branding. Just all those things coming together into you will make you a better creative person.
And this thing you mentioned just makes me realize the fact that as a creative, so the challenge most creatives have is that they see themselves as just being a creative. You're a businessman in the creative industry. You're a brand in the creative industry.
Yeah.
Just like you're first a Christian in the creative space. You're not a creative who now happens to be a Christian. You're first a Christian. A saint that rhymes. So I want to, because I noticed that. So there was a time you had a show at Terra Culture.
Yeah.
As at the time you had that show, it wasn't Terra Culture. Don't be like water now. Of course, it's very expensive. But I want to ask, what role has Audacity played in your journey, being audacious? Because that time,
it was an audacious move, I will tell you. But it didn't start from there. Again, you must learn to start small and grow big, or grow fast, like they say, but start small. My first show, I think the entire budget, actually should be 2010. Big Treats, First Avenue. First Avenue, First Axis. But the entire budget should be, I think, max maybe 20-25K. The hall was maybe 10K, get sound there. But I didn't have it though. I didn't have it. What did I do? the little I had, I went to deposit for the whole.
Hmm.
I think I had maybe about 7K. I deposited for I said I will come and pay your balance. Microphone, I spoke to the guy, the sound guy. I said, come with your sound, I will say to you and all of that. This was weeks before the day. Of course, when you step out in faith as a Christian, you know, faith comes by hearing, but faith will not produce when you just stay on hearing. Faith will begin to produce when you begin to take steps. It says, and the Lord walking with them, confirming the word with signs and wonders. So build your faith, you know, with the word of God. Spend time with the Holy Spirit, because it's one that I'm sure you have to appropriate it. But you must make that move. If you don't make a move, you will not see God's move. You will not see anything. You know, and that was my first experience of wow. So I did. You see, at a point, a day to the event, I told myself, I said, if this event will mean that I'll be arrested, let me be arrested. But this event must hold. And I got there, did my little publicity before that day. I got there, I saw only 7 people at the beginning. But before the show ended, we had about 50 persons.
What was the capacity of the hall?
The hall could seat about 80. We had about 50.
50
So it was a huge success for us then. And that was my first experience in trying something that I never done before. Again, let me track back. I had done it with somebody else, supporting someone else's vision. So I saw how he took steps. So let me track back, because you know, sometimes there's this thing that Pastor what you share, that there's a way Christians will share testimony and make us sound
very simple.
Yeah, so meanwhile there are certain things you also did that you know. So let me repent there. So I actually worked with somebody who holds seminars, and I've seen instances where the resources were not really available or were not enough, but he still stepped out. So that gave me a bit of, I've seen it before, even though not in my own life, but I've seen it.
But all you also had to do was just replicate.
Yes, and replicate what you've seen before. So, you know, and I took that step, and wow, the entire bills were paid. Nobody was owed. By the next day, everything was cleared. So I said, oh, wow. A few years after, I did a book launch. This time, the entire budget was about 200K. It was the same process. What I had was half of the hall. The hall was about 120K. This was a hall in one hotel called Baradi Rasaki.
Okay.
I've forgotten the name of the hotel. Okay. But if you want to turn into Baradi Rasaki, if you're coming from Apple Junction, the hotel should be on the left. You know. So the hall itself was about 120 decorations and all of that. But you know, at that time, I'd become a bit more mature in relationships. Relationships are also very important. So one of the persons that had a good experience with what I do said she was going to take care of the decorations. So everything for free.
Wow.
So that was partnership based on relationship. So that was cleared. Sound. How did you even do the sound? I think we got a discount, but we paid. You know, but what I was going to say is then I opened up platforms for people who wanted to partner, friends. I didn't go and look for a corporate brand. You know, if you don't have enough proofs to show that you are doing things, leave corporate brands. You see, until you are believable, don't go and start poking for what has he done?
It just even be a waste of time. You will use 1 month to chase them.
Yeah. But when you become believable, you don't even need to go. They will come. So that's it. So I took that and told a few people here and there, oh, I'm doing this, and would you like to be? Of course, not everybody. Again, you must not be afraid of rejection. Rejection is a part of the journey. Some said no, some didn't even respond, but some people responded, and so we're able to pay all the bills, sorted everything. There was even refreshments.
Wow.
But if you ask me, what I had with me was not enough, but it was done. That was the second one. I think I had another third experience in 2019, which was Oriental Hotel.
You're not even at the rental?
Yeah, 2019.
Wow.
So for me, that was the mind blower for me, because at that point, I'd gotten to a point where St. Primes was beginning to earn from MCing and many other things that I'd stated. But still it was not enough. But the same process that did the first one, did the second one, did the third one. So it was that same process I applied to TerraCulture. TerraCulture was in millions. It was in millions.
So you had the Oriental experience version before the TerraCulture?
Yes.
So I thought the TerraCulture came 5.
No, Oriental was 2019, TerraCulture was 2023.
a big dreamer. Before you hold that up, before you tell me about what drives you to keep, doing big things. You go on the short break. When we come back from the break, the conversation will continue. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Great stories can move people. Every brand has one, including yours. How we tell such stories is what makes the difference. At Visibility Solutions Media, we are more than a communications agency. We are the powerhouse you need to help you win in the marketplace. We do this through videos that promote your products and services, media solutions that put you in the spotlight, content strategies that put you in the minds of your audience. Call us now on 0805 468 0266 or visit www.vsmpr.com. Your brand story deserves to be heard. Let's help you make it happen.
Welcome back from the break. This is the Conversations with Kenni, and we still have the amazing Saint that rhymes. For those of you who are just joining us, Saint Rhymes is a remarkable spoken word artist, poet, master of ceremonies, and much more. Welcome once again to the show.
Thank you.
So before we went on the break, you were talking about me. I wonder how you think they do these big things from first act to you don't use all the big venues.
Ew.
And maybe now you go there.
I could tell you, man. In fact, we had a joke there that Madison Square Garden were coming.
Amen to that. So what's the drive to do these big things, especially in, where you're coming from a place of not enough.
Not enough. For me, I think it's all centered on my faith in God. So last, you can't remove God in the equation of your life, the equation of your success. Anything, if you're going to succeed, true success, God is the center. Center. And some of these things, He's the one that puts it in your heart. If you're able to accept it, then it will be doable. But if you reject it, He will not force you. He will just look for somebody else who's willing, to allow Him write a story or tell a story with your life. Yeah. So
Fantastic.
So it's the drive.
Fantastic. So what would you say about spoken word right now, from when you started to this moment?
It has evolved. The evolution has happened, just like every other creative industry. It has evolved. Before we came in, it was more of just recital. Somebody just comes. Jack and Jill went up the hill. Yes, and people would just clip off. Then we came with the vibes, the rhymes, and all of that. But again, you see, the younger generation, they've taken it higher, a notch higher. So it has evolved. It has become more recognizable in this part of the world. When I even when I started, I didn't even know what it was called. I just knew that I always saw myself speak on the mic. It's not rap, it's not music, it's not just talk. That was how I explained to my first inner circle. I said I can't explain it, but this is what it is. This is it. It's speaking. It's not just speaking. It's not rap. It's not music. I don't know what it is. But now you hear people say I'm a spoken word, and you're able to relate. You can a picture will come up in your mind.
Of somebody.
Yeah.
So talking about pictures, because I know you were inspired by Sage Arson.
Yes, I was. Yes. And
so
I'm still.
You are still inspired by people like that. But who were your early inspirations when you started out? Who were the people you were saying that, okay, if these guys can do it?
So the first person I saw, even though he didn't toe the line of music and rap, was Sound Sultan. So when I used to just do play on words with a couple of friends in secondary school, one day I came home on a Sunday and I just put on TV and I just I said, is that not me? Because it was, I was like, no, I thought I was the only one doing it in the entire world. Nobody. I said, so this thing is real. So I'm not crazy. Again, that just made me know that I was not mad. Because when you're hearing things in your spirit and nobody's around you hearing it, and you say it and they're like, wow, amazing. I'm like, and then you put on TV, you hear somebody doing the same thing. I was like, okay, I'm normal. So that was the first person. Then a friend of mine was the person that made me know about Sage. He brought a tape or so of Sage's performances live, and I listened. I'm like, so there are people like me. I said, okay. So I took out time, started searching out for them. So I also met or saw Ife Paul as you know. I met him later on. I met him about I think 2013, 14 thereabout. That's when I met him. So that's over 10 years ago. You know, and a couple of other people that have been doing the same thing, but just in their several corners and all that, because there was not enough visibility at that time. Maybe because social media was still in the teaching stage and all of that. You know, so those were the inspirations that stood out for me.
Okay, so let's delve away a bit from spoken word. Let's talk about love in this generation. You are married. How would you? What's your view about love in this time and age? Do you think it's transactional? Do you think it's pure? Or do you think it's being influenced by social media?
Of course. I think there was less pressure in the times when we were growing up, because what was happening in other places, you're not feeling it at real time. So the pressure was reduced. If your friend going to a relationship in 1998, and maybe stays in another place, another location, you may not be aware, and so you are not pressured to want to go and start a relationship because John started a relationship. But now, John starts a relationship, puts it on social media,
see it on status
and all of that. You are pressured to go and start a relationship, even if you don't know whether you are ready or not. So that pressure is there. Then the dropping values, where people have seen a lot of, again, still promoted by social media, have seen a lot of things that were not acceptable in our time, but they see it all over social media, different things, different scandals here and there. You know, it actually, you know, breaks down the systemic value of the society where we live in, and people start doing things. So I just want to, I say they have a lot of data in this generation, so they're just dating. You know, they're just dating. Why are you dating? No purpose. I just want to date. You see, it was not so when I was growing up. I mean, I think even for me, my first relationship started when I had a certain sense of what I was going to do with my life. So I said, hey, now I can go and look for somebody to go and join this train. Here, this one, it doesn't even know. It doesn't know who he is, what he wants to do. He has no work, no income, nothing, no identity at all. But you want a relationship.
What would you regard as the common? You are also like a coach or mentor to young adults. You know, what would you regard as the mistakes young people make right now when it comes to dating?
They put the last things first. Sex is lasting. They put it first, and when you start from the last thing, it cannot be lasting.
Say it again.
When you start with the last thing, it cannot be lasting.
Start with the.
I said they put the last things first, and the last thing is sex. You can't start a relationship and the first thing you're doing is sex. That's the last thing. All right. So when you put the last things first, the relationship cannot be lasting.
So do you think social media also promotes?
Of course. I mean, social media is good, though. I love it. I mean, it's good. That's helped, push out information faster. But as it's pushing out positive information fast enough, it's also pushing out negative information fast enough. So it's a double-edged sword. The negative side is doing well, and the positive side is doing well. So again, the onus now lies on the individual to know how to choose what is right for yourself. Know what is right and choose the right thing.
What do you think about? It's like social media these days. There's this people like you. Let me put it. Okay, thank God for the increased visibility. Yeah. But you guys are still not in the spotlight. Very much in the spotlight compared to people like I'll mention names. People like DJ Chicken guys. I will mention names.
It's true.
Well, what do you think? Do you think you should blame the media, like the blogs promoting them, or do you think you people are not doing what you should be doing?
No, I think people who know the right things are not showing the right things enough. So I also blame myself on that. I think Christians should, ride on social media, and push out kingdom culture, kingdom values more. You push it out. You can't tell the guy on the other side not to push what he wants to push. But you as the Christian, you know the right thing. Push out your own and push it out more consistently. All right, it's a battle of visibility. It's a battle. So if those of us in the light don't show up, then darkness will cover the earth. So we must also push out in your own area, your own sphere, just like Mr. Kenny is doing. Push it out. Push it out. That little light of yours might just be what will save somebody in the nearest future. So push it out.
I saw you perform at. I think I even sent a message that the NL was in the NLP.
Next level prayer.
That was CBS.
No. That was the HICC's headquarters.
Was it the headquarters?
Yes, it was their first time, their first service there.
Ah.
Yes, that's Ologolo Lekki Axis.
How did you perform on that? Was that the biggest stage for you?
No, that's not the biggest.
What's
It's
the biggest?
The biggest will be
The experience of it's coming.
yeah. Let me see. Which one? I've had several. I think I've done something at the hotel before. I can't remember the show now. I've done. I need to think.
You don't money don't enter too much. but
It's one of the big ones there.
so I was proud. I was proud on your behalf. But how did it happen?
Okay, so it's relationship. It's people that will announce you. Check the life of Joseph, the life of David, the poet that plays the instrument. Somebody saw him playing the instrument. Somebody announced him in the palace. So it was the same experience. Somebody that I'd known for a while called me to come do something at one of the HICC branch. I think the one at Bagada a few years back. So I went there and I did something and they all loved it. The next day they called me back. I did something, they all loved it. And then that was all. I didn't hear again from them until that particular day when we were going to open up their first service at their latest, which is now their head office now. And I got a call a week before, like, so St. Rhymes, can you do something for us? About prayer. So I said, oh, why not? I'm available. What's the detail? What are the modalities and all that? And they sent everything I needed to know. And I said, okay. And I showed up. So for me, don't play with little relationships. How you show up in little relationships matter. How you deliver in little events matter. All right. That's it.
Talking about, before.
Yeah, I remember the biggest one was the there's this but they've stopped now. There was this poetry movement body that came out in 2014, 15, 16, and they did a lot of big events, poetry events in Lagos. They brought these American poets, P4CM, these gospel American poets, Genetics, Ezekiel Azonwo. People that are into poetry know P4CM, they brought them to Nigeria. So the first year we were backstage, we were part of the crew setting up. The second year I was on stage.
Wow.
The third year I was on stage.
Where was it held?
The first one was held at LCC. LCC, Landmark, not LCC, Landmark. It's a big. And then we had Lekki Coliseum, and then we had Terra Culture too.
Wow.
The third year.
Fantastic. Talking about days of small beginnings, what would you advise someone who's watching us right now? Somebody who, now, because of social media, again, people don't want to
process.
Start small. Exactly. Start small. It'll be like, make an enter spotlight, make they see me.
They want progress without process.
Can say that again. So, what would be your advice? Because you're a process person. I know how you evolved from the Rhyme Movator era to St. Rhymes now.
So I would say that the truth is, I think the speed or the process of being visible is easier and faster now. So visibility is not an issue. What the issue should be is to grow your depth and your content. If you that's the process you should focus on. What's my content? What's my depth? If I can grow that, your depth in God, your depth in the thing you are doing, your art, grow that depth. If you can't expedite that process. Visibility, you can buy followers now, you can buy likes, you can buy, so all of that is faster now. But the one you cannot remove is the growing of the brand itself. Grow your brand, learn the rudiments of what you do. If it's music, learn the rudiments. If it's poetry, learn the rudiments. Become so excellent at it, even in your small corner. By the time you come out, you will not be ashamed.
Yes. Finally, I want you to do something for us. I want to put you on the spot. Conversations with Kenni.
They say the world is a product of a big bang. But I ask, if the world was a product of a big bang, who banged it? Words, words, words. I am the spoken word, and the spoken word lives in me. See, I have mouth. I have mouth. My lips will not be silenced, they'll be sealed, because I draw courage from a firm anchorage called Yahweh. So tell fear to excuse me, else you'll see my rage. This is in Tribes on Conversations with Kenni.
Nice
I
one.
use Ojoro there.
I know those say you use the journal, and you know. Now you know. So, are there things you're working on as usual?
Yeah, so funny enough, I have my third album coming out in June. Next month, June 21st. It's my birthday, so I was going to bless the world with something. And it's going to be a 10-track spoken word poetry. One of that, I was trying to think what to do for Conversations with Kenni. I said, let me tap into one of them. So
now the Ojoro,
So the first track, we've already shot that out. Dance With Me. It's a poem that talks about us walking with God.
Okay.
If you know the dance between the ballerina and the guy that dances with her, you notice that he dictates the tune for her to dance. When he releases her, then she can spin and come. So it's you walking with God and God releasing you to do what He has called you to do, and then He's
coming back.
you. Yeah. So that's the concept. Dance with me.
Fantastic, great stuff. I want to thank you for coming on the show and wish you the best in your rhyming as a saint. Thank you for joining the show. God bless you.
Thank you.
That's been Conversations with Kenni. Stick with us for other juicy content. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.